All right, guys, we are live. Welcome, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen. My computer's being weird. All right, we're a little early. Let's see who's in the chat real quick. We have always what's up is in the chat. He pretty much lives on the internet, and I love it. Thank you. He's a big supporter of the channel. I'm in the chat. Mr. Lee Fox is in the chat. What's going on, buddy? Thank you for buying my merchandise, man. I got something special for you. So I got something special for you next time I see you. Jesus in here. We'll get to that. We'll get to all those questions. I know it has been a while. So, my job, I have a regular day job and it's been semi-hectic. So kind of had to lay off the lead therapies because I had a bunch of heavy hitters, one after the other. And then I was just getting wore out. All right, I got Roger Stewart. Will, my buddy Will, we still got to go to dinner, man. What's going on? We need to schedule that. Urban, my ringer. Urban Ninja's my new ringer when I need someone to shoot guns perfectly. Misty, thank you so much. Gort, Jeff, look at this. Too many choices. Dennis. All right, great. Well, it looks like we have some people in the chat. Now let me introduce my next guest. So when I was doing the live streams, the fireside chats, and we were all hunting ammo last year. We were all going absolutely bananas, like chickens with their heads off trying to find ammo. This gentleman had reached out to me and says, "Hey, I see your show. You want to come, check out the facility, two-way warehouse?" I said, "Absolutely." So I got to go in and go on like a tour of the facility and see what it's all about. And it's really cool. So without further ado, let's add him to the live stream. The one and only from two-way warehouse, Brian.
Hey.
What's going on, buddy? First, I want to thank you for coming out to my last live event and supporting it. You donated like 750 rounds of ammo, and that's greatly appreciated because 9mm is like gold right now.
Happy to support, man. We really, it was a good thing really happy to help.
Yeah. So let's see who's in the chat. All right. Now, if you have ammo questions, guys, this is the gentleman to ask. He's got, a little bit of experience in it, just a tiny bit. All right. Fluffy's in here. Oh, man. Great. Yeah. 750 rounds. That was super generous. Super generous. Oh, Finesse with the $5. Thank you so much, Finesse. I appreciate it. How much ammo would $5 buy? About 3 bullets. About 3 bullets. So, So you are with two-way warehouse, and you were into metal trading before you got affiliated with two-way warehouse, right?
That's correct. I have what feels like a lifetime of experience in essentially trading commodities, but it would be predominantly scrap metal, base metals, which include aluminum, aluminum, copper, zinc, tin. We would trade the material around the world, and inevitably it led us into trading in brass cases coming out of gun ranges, and that led us into essentially the ammunition industry.
Oh, so you just kind of fell into it?
Yeah, kind of fell into it. It was we discovered instead of taking brass cases and going straight to scrap, we discovered the reloading markets. Started supplying product into the reloading markets, and one thing led to another. Now we manufacture, we import, we distribute. Very deeply involved in ammunition.
Nice.
I just got to say, Michael, when you asked me to be on this evening, we see things from behind the curtain as far as what's going on out there in ammunition, and I'm sure many of your watchers would be interested to hear what's going on out there.
Well, what's absolutely crazy and mind-boggling to me is, there's so many gun enthusiasts out here, and everyone is so tight-lipped about what's going on, and we're all in the dark. Most of the people out there that are buying ammo and shooting us day-to-day shooters have no clue what's going on. And when we ask questions, where do we ask them?
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, we have to. There's no newspaper report on what's going on out there. It's the information needs to be. We make the determination as to what's going on based on what we're seeing in the market,
Right. All right.
and we need to assess it ourselves in order to determine what's really going on.
Right.
There's a little bit of guesswork out there as well.
So we do have our first question. 300 blackout subsonic. Are you guys going to be stocking that?
Within 2 weeks.
Really?
2 weeks. Yeah. We have blackouts. Interesting. It's as we went into this tremendous shortage in the last 2 years, the focus out there was in 9mm and 223 to get that back on the market. I'm not talking just from our position, just for the market as a whole. Blackout was left behind. It's still short out there. It's expensive as hell. Somebody was telling me today there's product listed out there at $1.70 a round, which is just ridiculous. I mean,
that's
it's just
crazy.
It's crazy. We will be bringing 300 blackout new and 300 blackout reman onto the markets. Reman will be listed probably within 2 weeks, and news coming within the next month or so.
Do you have like an estimate of the price of those?
Yeah, it's probably I'd say roughly around the 80-cent mark, somewhere in that neighborhood. We intend to bring it in. Forget this $1.70 nonsense. Bring it in affordable. Again, we're trying to determine what is the right level to make it for it to be affordable compared to what else is out there. But we think somewhere in the 80s is probably the level that it's.
I saw a blackout the other day for $29 a box of 20.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy. That's ludicrous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you're seeing again is that there are a number of calibers that are just not out there, and there are manufacturers putting out there, and they're getting whatever they want for it. But that's going to calm down as we move forward here.
Jeff Cron says he just bought 1,000 rounds of Blazer, but had quite a few that were projectiles that were pressed way into the casing. Now that's something I've had a lot of experience with. Like all that stuff I buy at Academy, that Winchester, a lot of it's been failure to feed, dud primers, and it's been a nightmare.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of new companies out there that really don't. I mean, I'm not making any suggestions about where it comes from, but there's a lot of new product out there from companies that are not really the quality isn't where it needs to be. As far as coming from name brands, I mean, these guys are pumping out as much as they can, and it doesn't surprise me that you're going to see some quality issues out there.
All right. Fluffy says, I've been wanting to get ammo from 2A, just haven't yet, but I will.
Oh, well, thank you. We appreciate that.
Get on it, buddy. Get on it. Urban Ninja says, do you ever see ammo prices come? Oh, we'll get to that. Emmanuel says, is there any 2A discount codes? Maybe.
I nothing that I have on me at the moment. I apologize for that. That would have been a good idea for me to come on this evening with that.
Maybe we'll post something tomorrow, or
let's do that. I'm gonna get you something tomorrow, Michael. I'll have something for you to post.
Nice, and we won't spread it around. It's just for us. Just for us. Don't be passing it around to your cousin. All right, so supply versus demand. I know demand was super high for a long time, and then supply is kind of caught up. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, I think for the most part, for the core calibers, you're looking at supply is catching up. That kind of takes us into an interesting part of what's going on in the market right now. Excuse me. The core calibers are out there. I mean, we get calls from companies that are telling us they've got 10 truckloads of 9mm or 10 truckload, not truckloads, but 18 wheelers of product coming in, export containers coming into the country. It's not really for 9 and 223. It's not really in short supply. So just circling back to what we were talking about earlier on the 300 blackout, it's in short supply. There are a number of calibers out there, but fewer and fewer that you can't find. Things were kind of calming down. This whole COVID thing rolling into this Russian war. Every time you think things are about to calm down, something picks up the pace of the purchases. There's a lot of even though the market's calming down to some degree, product is still flying at ridiculous rates.
Right.
So somebody asked earlier, are we anticipating seeing prices falling down to 2019 levels? The one thing that's going to bring prices down to 2019 levels, maybe, and I'll give you a caveat on that, is if the consumers stop buying. The one thing that keeps prices up is the fact that is that the demand is there, it's consistent. The product it just keeps moving. If the consumers, there is way more capacity online than I would imagine ever. There's product coming in from Kyrgyzstan, volumes from Turkey, volumes from this product coming in from India. Just the places you would never think to see their ammunition in the American consumer markets. That ammunition is here.
India.
India. Is product coming in from India. Kyrgyzstan.
Does Kyrgyzstan fall under that Russian ban?
It does not. It does not. Going back to the Russian ban, and I know we would get to this somewhere in the conversation, but just talking about pricing, and I don't know if I'm putting this into the right context, but the biggest earthquake we can yet see, which is likely to hit the U.S. market, is, as I said, it's a little bit difficult. There's no newspaper with information, but we estimate that 20% of the overall United States market is supplied by Russian ammunition. This Russian war is, in my opinion, unlikely to go away anytime soon. It doesn't go away anytime soon. It's going to be inevitable that they shut down the Russian goods coming into the country. 20% of the overall market. If we're wrong, maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 25%. Those goods are going to disappear overnight.
Oh, we're not even shipping from the shipping side. We're not dealing with anything Russian. Any quotes we have coming in, we don't do it.
But it's coming into the country. It's flowing in at so looking at the Russian goods, September of last year, as many people may recall, Biden came out and basically said no more permits for Russian goods. Immediately, nobody knew what this meant. What did he mean by no more permits? Did it mean that they wouldn't allow or permit any more product into the country? Essentially, what they, after some lawyers looked at it, what it was all about is they're saying, if you hold a permit to import Russian ammunition, you got 2 more years, because the permit lasts 2 years, to import product, and they will not issue you a new permit to import within 2 years. So essentially, there was a panic. The Russian goods disappeared off the market, and then they kept coming, and the Russians, being aware that they're on a ticking clock as far as their access to the U.S. market, they were dumping massive volumes of product into the market, and that product is in the market today, and keeps coming. Although, again, earthquake to come, is that as we move forward here, it is very likely that supply will switch off sometime soon.
Soon as
They
in
will.
like a few months or by the end of the year?
I would imagine that as this war continues, and I don't think it's going to, as long as the war continues, I think at some point there's the U.S. government is going to switch off. It's going to be part of the sanctions, and they're going to no longer allow Russian ammunition to be imported into the United States. Essentially, what they're doing is they're getting hard currency for it, and so, whether the hard currency is going directly back to Russia or going through some other routing, they're getting hard currency for their
Mm.
ammunition, and I don't think that that's what the United States government probably wants. They just need to look at it long enough to decide that they're going to switch it off. So that's likely to happen. It's likely to happen, and that's going to push pricing. That's going to push pricing way up for everything.
Now,
Because
is ammo like oil? Is there speculative pricing? Because if there's a
I don't.
rumor that
As
oil
a
goes down, it goes
as
nuts.
an old commodity trader, I don't see it that way. I don't see. Like any market, you got people buying product and speculation that it may be going up, and then of course, you can see it from the consumer side. Consumers are going to buy it with anticipation it's going to go up, or stop buying it in anticipation that it's going to come down. But I don't see it quite as quite along the lines of like a regular commodity like that. So I don't see it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason prices are up is because as we went through the last 2 years, every single component, four components, primers, powder, projectiles, and cases, every one of them had their issues. Everyone, there were supply issues, lack of supply, massive logistics issues. I mean,
Trust me, I know.
yeah. I mean, to move to put, just to give you one example, typically to move a container of ammunition out of Europe should cost $15,000 to move a container. $15,000 equates to in one container there's 1.5, 1.4, 1.3 million rounds of ammunition. You're talking about a penny a round. At the height of the problems, it was costing 4 cents a round to get product out. Still today, it can cost 3 cents, 3.5 cents to get
Yeah.
just a single round of ammunition out of a European manufacturer to the United States. Logistics problems, then and then of course demand went through the sky. Whether it was projectiles or primers, which is a whole other headache, and now gunpowder, which is a whole new headache. Prices have for each component have gone up, but it's gone up because there's massive inflation out there,
Mm.
and there's massive inflation, massive demand, massive logistics problems. Not all of these massive price increases that we've seen for ammunition is related necessarily to the fact that there's huge demand. There's a lot of intrinsic
Right.
pricing issues that have push stuff way up, and it's
Jesus.
getting. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Jesus in the chat had a quick question. How much ammo do you guys produce in one day, if you had to
So
guess?
we're not a massive manufacturer. We're a distributor, so we move a lot of other people's ammunition. We do move a lot of our own. We move, but not as much. A day we produce probably close on 200,000 rounds. Not a crazy
Oh, that's
number.
it. That's it. Just 200,000 rounds.
It's all relative. It's all relative. It's all relative.
So, how much ammo goes through your warehouse in one day? Then, if you were to say
How much?
closer,
I would. Well, you're gonna have to make. You're making me think about that. It's definitely
lot.
probably 300,000 rounds, maybe 400. Yeah, somewhere around there.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to keep up with. It's a lot. It goes in a lot of different directions. I mean, there's wholesale. We supply gun ranges. There's big box stores that we supply, and then there's retail, which is also very large part of what we do.
Well, from the chat, there's a lot of interest in this 300 blackout. Now, are you going to do subsonic or just regular?
It, so right now on our website, I believe if it's not on right now, there's, of all things, there's Russian ammunition. It's a Sergeant Major brand 300 blackout. I believe it's a steel case product. So and then for our own product, it's going to be subsonic 200 grain. Yeah.
Nice. Will said he saw $30 a box for 300 blackout at Academy. That's just crazy. That's too much. I mean, I've seen people buy it though. I stood right there and watched people buy 300 blackout for $26 a box.
I think it's a matter of time, and you're going to see. It's just that one you should wait that one out.
See, for me, 300 blackout is something, I was offered to review a 300 blackout rifle, and I was like, I don't have any. And I asked them, are you going to provide the ammo too? Because I can't go out and spend $500 to review your rifle. And they're like, no. I'm like, oh, well, let's circle back to that end of the year.
Summertime.
Summertime.
Late summer. Summer.
Let's get back to that.
Yeah.
Jay Martinez said he ordered 500 rounds from 2-8. Thank you. Look at this. A lot of people, a lot of good interest. Nice.
Thank you.
Just checked 2A warehouse. That's the first time I've seen 45 Colt in stock in over a year.
Yeah, things are showing up that we haven't seen in a while. I mean, it's COVID. The COVID market is over. There's still residual pricing out there, but there's a product that hasn't been seen in a year or 2 years is starting to show up.
Nice. Let's see. Carlos says Ammo Incorporated 9mm, $23 a box is a good price in Puerto Rico. Oh my god! So I take it you don't shoot a whole lot in Puerto Rico at $23 a box. That's bananas. All right.
That's interesting.
So have your shipping costs gone up quite a bit as far as like local fuel, just shipping?
I'm scared to look. I haven't asked the price. I mean,
because gas.
When I say I'm scared to look, where we see it, where we are seeing it, we're seeing it in international freight. Mm-hmm. We're seeing it in domestic trucking. I mean, just but domestic. It's kind. You'll as a logistics person, you'll find that this a little bit interesting. It's freight prices have been once again COVID related, have been so detached from any kind of reality that you could double the cost of gas and you wouldn't know the difference. I mean, typically
they don't care. So for everyone in the chat, my day job previously from where I was at now is I used to work for one of the big 4 major carriers. That was my job. So I was on the inside track of a lot of this stuff. And right before COVID hit, they took a lot of vessels out of rotation. That means they take the vessel and they park it off the coast somewhere because they needed to drive up demand for space. And when the demand for space came back, they just said, well, we'll just leave those ships out there, because now they went from charging, like Brian was saying, the average container from, our cost is about $2,000. I don't know what your freight forwarder charges you, but from Europe to the US is about $2,500. And that went to almost $30,000. And if you have out of gauge cargo, that means it goes on a flat rack container. It takes up more slots. So you pay an extra for every slot you take up. So if you wanted, say, a giant transformer from India to the US 2 years ago, it was going to be maybe 14,000. Now it's closer to 60. So it's just crazy. And they don't want it. They won't ship those kind of freight.
Yeah, and where's the gas increase in that price? You can't. It doesn't matter. It's just like bringing an 18-wheeler from the Northeast, from New York or New Jersey to Houston used to cost $3,000. Now it's $7,000. So we don't see it there. We're concerned about seeing gas pricing in retail shipments. Right. With UPS, we ship UPS, and we're concerned about that. Fortunately, I haven't heard anything yet, so I'm just keeping my head down. But we're likely to see it show up there sometime soon.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy. Just for another comparison, local in Houston, like if you want to take a container and ship it from Houston to Dallas, round trip. So that means you pay for the driver to go up, drop the box, and come back. Used to be about $450, $500. Now that's closer to 15,
Yeah.
almost $2,000, which is crazy.
Okay. I have the best one. We were bringing in two containers of ammunition into Houston. Uh, uh, it was needed to be transported. It's in the shipping industry. It's referred to drayage to
Right.
our facility, which was probably less than 10 miles. So for a 18-wheeler truck to do 20 miles worth of transit, we were getting quoted $2,500
Is that from the port?
from the port to our
Oh,
facility, unload the container, and then go back to the port.
I'll give
Twenty-five
you a
hundred
list.
dollars.
I'll give you a list of truckers. I got some very good brands.
Yeah, we got a good laugh out of it, but the fact is that's what they asked. And
That's
when we said that is ridiculous, they just said, there are no truckers available. So if you want to, yeah. Anyway, so that's all part of those logistics problems we've been looking at.
all right. Here's a good question from Barry. On AmmoSeek, there are a ton of cheaper brands that I've never heard about, and I've seen so many weird brands on the market just this year.
Yeah.
Are these small independent shops, or are they just rebranding Russian stuff to
It's
ship?
both. It's both. Not necessarily Russian, as I said. Kyrgyzstan product coming in from Kyrgyzstan, and I mean, I don't. So you're going to see, and they're new manufacturers. There's a lot of new product coming on the market, and small independents, and new. It's everything. It's all of the above. My suggestion is follow the reviews. I mean, we've heard of some relatively strange things out there, and but just follow the reviews, and that's the way to go.
What were you telling me? There was a company that was just drilling holes in the tip of the bullets, and they were calling them
Yeah,
homeless pigs.
yeah, yes.
That is
I
hilarious.
don't want to. I don't want to talk about that.
All right, all
But
right. That's hilarious.
yeah. There's all kinds of strange stuff out there. Yeah.
C6 says, when is Biden going to release some of the U.S. ammo reserve to help with the ammo? Man, I'd get
Call
behind
your
that.
local representative.
I would get behind that in a hot minute,
Yeah.
man.
Like that question. Yeah.
Jeff says these ammo prices, the shipping container prices need to come down. No, they're making $1 billion. Maersk Line made $1 billion a quarter. There is no rush. Well, granted, for the last 15 years, steamship lines, the big steamship lines that own the steamship lines like MSC, Maersk, Hapag-Lloyd, MSC, they have been not losing money, but they've barely been breaking even. And so now they're making all this money for once. And so they're like, wow, this is amazing. So they're in no rush
On
to
that,
fix the problem.
Jeff, on the question that you're asking, I read somewhere that Maersk, of all lines, basically declared themselves done with Russia, never going back. Under the circumstances, and they're like, "Oh, wait, we're coming back to pick up empty containers." So yeah, the containers are a problem. It's a containers are very hard to find.
Yes, that is true.
Even if you have a booking to ship, which is a ticket to ship an export container to a foreign destination, a week after week, the container company, they'll give you the ticket, and then it's like if it was an air ticket, they'd say, "I'm sorry, but we don't have any planes available." So
Right.
you have a ticket for a rite of passage, but no containers to load the product in.
Lee Fox has a good question. He goes, do you have a local pickup? I don't believe so, right?
We do not. We do not. Local pickup is very overwhelming to us, and at the moment we do not do that. I
Yeah, you have a
apologize for that.
pretty tight facility, so that would
Yeah.
just be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Triple H with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, buddy. I do appreciate you. Got Randy Adams in the chat. That's my buddy. Carlos Fernandez. Oh, he can't receive ammo by mail in Puerto Rico. That sucks.
Ah. Yeah.
10 millimeter is hanging at $30, box of 50. You know, I saw, yeah, I see it for like $24, $25 a box for 10 mil. I love 10 millimeter. It's just so dang expensive. It's so expensive to shoot.
So 10 millimeter. So we've got 10 millimeter reman right at that price. We do have that product. That, and if it's not online right now, it'll be online next week.
Yeah, I
We've
mean
been
that's just
moving
the
it
going
right
rate for
right
it.
there, right there.
All right. Fluffy says I picked up some Bilam 7.60 by 3 down brass case for $12. It's from Siberia. It's a newer brand I haven't heard Racine before. Well, it won't be coming from Siberia anytime soon.
Maybe coming now, but maybe not in a short period of time anymore.
Right. Because when those containers are on the water, so it could take anywhere from a month to 3 months before it can hit the U.S. Then it still has to be cleared by customs. That takes a day, and then
Yeah,
it takes time.
one thing I would think that would, it's an interesting dilemma for the Russians or for the importers of that product, because on the one hand, you could buy containers of Russian goods delivered to a U.S. port. You could pay for it, and it hits the United States, and you have no idea whether it's going to make its way through U.S. customs or not. And if it doesn't make its way through U.S. customs, I have no idea, because moving ammunition it's highly restricted to get permits to move it. If the U.S. government confiscates it, or which is a likely possibility, or insists that it cannot get through the country, which is also another likely possibility, it's very very risky to attempt to bring it in. But what's happening is, at the moment, it's coming in, but you've got to. It's a very risky thing to continue to ship this product into the United States today. I
Yeah,
would think.
because
I think that the people doing it are going to be very hesitant to do it.
with a stroke of a pen, he could really screw it up. So if something's not received, say something comes into Houston port and it gets pulled for customs inspection. So whatever freight forwarder has to pay that fee. So the customs will take the truck. You pay the truck fee from the port across the street to whatever warehouse it's going to. Usually there's just one, Gulf Winds, and then they open the door, look at it. That's how they inspect a lot of that freight, and then they charge you $1,000. Then you send your truck to go pick it up. So it's kind of a scam. But if they reject that freight, then you have to ship it back. You have to just ship it straight back to wherever it came from at your cost. And if it's a 4 or 5 month wait sometimes to get a container on a boat to where it has to go, and then you got to pay storage fees until it gets there. Like there's some containers that don't get fumigated correctly. So
Yeah,
when it gets here, like we had some stuff coming from China,
I, I
and it was 2 months and $40,000 or $50,000 later before it got back to China because it couldn't come in.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if the U.S. government insisted that a container of Russian ammunition that you paid for needs to be shipped back to Russia? Do you think the Russians will give you the money back in rubles, or in Ukrainian farmland? I mean,
Well, what they'll probably do is just say it can't come into the U.S. You could send it somewhere else.
yes.
They'll probably
Well, not in ammunition, not so easily. Not so easily.
right. Look, in Phoenix, 10 mil is 35 a box of 10. Ouch. Federal premium 10 mil is $41. Oh, that's ridiculous. That's so dumb. Let's see. Everyone in the chat, please hit the thumbs up and share the video. I'd greatly appreciate it. So when we had the ammo crunch, when you saw us out there freezing our ass off, basically in line, which was cool. I actually really enjoyed it. For me, it was like fishing. You never know if you're going to get ammo. All we heard was primer shortage. We never heard anything about brass or gunpowder. It was just primers. That was the hiccup. How much out of all of last year was primers the main hiccup, or was it other factors too?
It was. There were many hiccups, but primers absolutely. There were ammunition companies it's essentially ammunition. Primers went from the cheapest component out there to manufacture ammunition with to well, close to the cheapest component to the more expensive than a case for a single primer, just because it just couldn't be found. I mean, what was happening is the big manufacturers in our impression, what was happening is that the major manufacturers of primers in the United States were essentially holding the production for their own demand, and they weren't releasing product to the secondary markets. And the secondary markets, I mean, you're talking about big manufacturers, but just not the biggest manufacturers. Secondary,
Right.
the entire secondary market just couldn't get hold of primers. There were
How
primers coming in. We were importing primers. A number of other companies were importing, but there was absolutely no way to meet the demand. There were a lot of companies hurt by the lack of availability, and it shut down a lot of production, and it shut down a number of companies. Well, certainly their production,
right.
and it restricted supply onto the market without a doubt.
So what's the status of the primer now? I mean, are there primers in the market? Is everyone good on primers, or is it still like a real hard
It can
demand?
be it can be bought, but for a high price. I mean, you can find it. Primers pre-COVID were going to consumers at like around 2.5 cents. Today, going wholesale to relatively large manufacturers at 8 cents, 8 cents, 9 cents, uh, sometimes 10 cents. I mean, it's up there.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I think about that within the context of a single round of a single. Uh, you're looking at as much as 10 cents just in the primer cost alone. These are the things that are pushing ammunition prices up.
Wow.
And even at 10 cents, I have no idea. You're looking at 10 cents out of, say 9 millimeters going for 30 cents a round. 10 cents of a third of it is just for the primer alone. It's very, very tight.
Now, what are you seeing in the market now as far as like brass and lead and stuff going up? I mean, has that increased in the last couple months?
So yeah. So pre-COVID. Sorry, I keep going back to pre-COVID, but
Mm.
pre-COVID, copper, which consists of 70% a brass case, is made of C260 alloy brass. It's 70% copper, 30% zinc. The copper portion, which is 70% of it, was $2.50 a pound pre-COVID. Today, copper is bouncing up right at approaching $5. It's doubled,
So
which
it's
is
double.
ridiculous. Historical highs, never seen before in the history of the planet. Zinc prices are they trade in it trades in dollars per metric ton. It's over $4,000 as of recently, probably doubled as well. Yeah, that sounds about right. Also doubled. So price of a case is doubled.
Wow.
If just as what we're seeing as far as cases, there's a lot of cases starting to come in import now, and they are that price. Some things are pushing prices up, some things are pushing prices down. Cases coming into the country, imported into the country, are probably going to start pushing cases down, case cost down. But it's restricted to 9 millimeter, maybe 380, but not many other calibers. Cases are you call Starline. Call Starline, ask them for 100,000 9 millimeter. They'll say we'll call you back in 2023, maybe maybe.
Oh
Uh,
man.
uh, One interesting, just talking about the market in general. We recently attended a conference in Germany. It's the EWA conference, which is the European equivalent of the SHOT Show. The largest gunpowder manufacturer in Europe. We had a conversation with them, and they basically said, "Don't call us until 2024." Sold out. sold out of gunpowder until 2024. They'll talk to us for 2024. Yeah.
Huh. So what impact do you think that primer factory they're going to open in, I think it's Brownsville. They're opening a primer factory in Texas. Is that going to help the market?
I think it's Texarkana.
Yeah, Texarkana.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything disparaging, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I just pay for it after you get the goods. There's been a lot of this. I think we got phone calls. A lot of phone calls probably a year ago where there were brokers calling us, offering us primers from this facility, which wasn't this facility. I mean, they weren't in Texarkana at the time. They're setting up this facility, and what they would if we just put some money down now, there'll be product flowing within 60 days, 90 days. I don't think they've produced anything yet. I don't think, I think the market is not taking it too seriously. That product's going to generate out there. It may.
But
we
proof is in the
hope
pudding.
Oh yeah, proof is in the pudding. We certainly hope they succeed. Just when when people were representing product flowing within 60 to 90 days a year ago, nothing's produced yet. It just becomes a little
We have to get our own primer factory in Texas, because when we succeed from the union, we're going to need all the components here in Texas.
Don't worry, Mexico will supply everything we need.
That's right. That's right. Texas is going to be its own country. Let's see. We already went over pretty much everything. As far as, you know what I hear a lot too? The government is taking all the materials to build ammo and not letting it flow to the private sector. Is that true?
I generally, I mean, I absolutely not. I mean, we've heard situations where that there have been some government requirements for primers in the middle of the shortage, and that added to the shortage. But certainly nowhere that we don't see that really as being a factor in any aspect of what's going on out there. It's the U.S. consumer that is feverishly buying ammunition. I mean, what is it? 12 to 17 million new gun owners in the last two years. Is it 12 or 17, something like that? And that takes a lot of ammunition. Those new buyers.
Yeah. Well, plus too, I knew a lot of guys. So I got really into guns about a year before the ammo panic and COVID and all that. I got really into it. And I knew a lot of guys that had tons of guns, but would buy ammo on the way to the range and wouldn't really keep a whole lot at home. And so you had all the new gun owners, plus probably 100,000 of these guys that don't really stockpile. Now everybody has a bunch of ammo at home. I don't know anybody that shoots that doesn't have at least a couple 100 rounds of everything at home. Yeah. So now I think that was a huge part of demand. I had a few people reach out to me and ask for ammo that have, 40 or 50 guns. And I'm like, hey, you have all these guns and no ammo? No.
That's pretty, that's something,
They got paperweights. I go, so you have a bunch of paperweights in your house. That's useless. Hammer with no nails. It's useless.
Yeah. I think that's probably changing. I mean, just after what we've seen. Yeah.
Now at Two-Way Warehouse, you guys have a brass trade-in program where you can save up your brass and then you ship it in?
Yes.
How does that work?
We were interested in once fired brass. We are part of our business. We are a reloader, and we are always looking for brass. We bring brass in from Hawaii to Maine from gun ranges. We deal with essentially hundreds of gun ranges, and we also buy brass from the shooting public. So if you would be able to ship brass to us via USPS post office boxes, they give you the box for nothing. I think it's $17 or $18 to ship the product in. We pay $1.80 a pound for the material delivered to us, and we mail a check. I believe it's within 21 days or something.
Okay.
The On our website, you'd be able to find it's the cash brass for cash program.
Cash for brass. I
Cash for
can't.
brass. Cash for brass.
I've swept so much brass into that range, and I should have been picking it up the whole time because I just
Yeah,
leave it,
it's money. It's money. I mean, it's
especially now.
commodity prices are just keep pushing higher, and the product it's worth something.
Yeah, it's funny. Brass is, I always tease everyone when they say they invest in stocks or gold or silver. I'm like, I invest in ammo, and you know what? That's not a
You
bad
haven't gone
investment.
wrong.
That's not a bad investment. So stop buying gold. Gold isn't going anywhere. Silver is yeah, but start buying ammo, folks. That's my EF Hutton moment. That's what I want you guys to do. Start buying ammo. So what's the craziest rumor you heard from your side of the aisle about why there was a shortage? You ever hear anything really outlandish?
Uh, I'd have to think about that. Uh, wow, you could have asked me that question and given me some time to think about that one.
Well, there's
It
always
just
conspiracies everywhere.
you know what it is. It just uh, the market was very much asleep through the first 3 years of the Trump administration. I mean, ammunition was just there wasn't a lot of demand.
So cheap.
It was cheap. As we came out of the Obama administration, there was absolutely an anticipation that we were going to end up with Hillary. The From gun stores to ammunition manufacturers, they're all preparing for it. They built massive infrastructure in anticipation of Hillary coming in, and they thought that's even though under 8 years of Obama, the market was incredibly strong. They anticipated Hillary was going to come in and create massive demand, and when Donald Trump came in, essentially from January of 2017, the market essentially went to sleep. I mean, there was from the consumers who were concerned about legislation from another Democratic administration. I mean, essentially, they went from that to hey, I'll pick up my ammunition at the stop and go with my beer on the way home. There was no anxiety related to it. It's a fear-based market. It really is. And there was no fear for the first 3 years of the Trump administration. COVID came in, and people got scared. People got very scared. And when it was time to go out and buy ammunition, it wasn't there to be found. And
I was amazed. All my friends in California, because I'm a refugee from California, if you guys didn't know, I had a lot of people look me up
and you're
on.
still okay. You're still an okay person.
Well, I'm a born again Texan, so I had so many people reach out on Instagram, and Facebook that were seriously anti-gun, like anti-vegan gun, like ew, don't touch it. And they're like, I want to get a gun. What do you suggest? And I four people that just blew me away.
Yeah.
And I was
Yes.
stunned. And they're like, well, how much ammo should I get? Should I get a couple thousand rounds? I'm like, absolutely. Don't ask. That's a dumb question.
The market demographic changed. I mean, you're talking about some people you would never think would be buying guns and ammunition, and they got very serious very quickly.
Right. So I'm getting into the AK world, and 7.62 by 3.9 is super important to me. Should I be buying as much as I can now? Because if 62 by 39 becomes an American produced bullet, it's going to get a lot more expensive.
Right.
Right. So should I just
Uh,
be trying to buy as much as I can now while it's
I
in the
think
market?
I think you got to buy for the. I think you got to buy for the. If it depends when you want it. If you want it in 2020, 2023, the chances are you're going to see the lower pricing. Chances are. If you want it in three, it's like, is the Russian earthquake coming? Where all of this cheap steel 39 is gonna just evaporate like in a matter of days because there's massive amounts for sale. If they shut off the spigot and do not allow any more into the country, you're not going to see any more Russian goods for a long time, and
Right.
those prices are just going to be up. I would say buy a year's worth now. Buy if you're happy with the Russian quality and it doesn't bother you, buy that now. With American qualities coming, American products coming online, so there'll be products out there, but it's likely to be very expensive, especially if the Russian goods are shut out. So probably now would be that. It's all speculation, but probably now is probably the best time to buy it if you're going to use it over the next year.
I knew it. You were getting around to saying that. I knew it.
Yeah, probably so. And maybe the
No,
Russian goods don't get shut down, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but I
because
would say that's probably
Winchester
a good bet.
7.62 by 39 is like $16 a box, which is stupid because if you have an AK, the great thing about owning one is you go out there and you just pull the trigger and you don't even care about the ammo price. Now it's gotten to the point where you're like, oh man, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah,
Like when I review these guns, I do 500 rounds of 9mm, 500 rounds of 45, and it's like getting punched right in the nose.
no, it's
But it's
it's
fun.
a
Like I
it's
really
a it's a
enjoy it.
filthy habit. It's a filthy habit. I mean,
It
with the
is
amount of money it costs to,
because
yeah,
I tried to cut down. I just did a 45 1911. I'm like, all right, this one 300 rounds max, and I got out there and then I took it to. One day I went, 2 days I went, 3 days I went, 4 days to really review a gun. You got to shoot it a lot. And I was close to 600 rounds, and I'm like, ouch, that is
right,
gonna hurt. That's hurting,
yeah.
but it's so much freaking fun. I love it.
Just look. If they pull the plug on the Russian goods, it's going to be an earthquake. That's all I can say. As to whether they do it or not, I don't know.
I think they will.
Yeah, I would think they're going to do it as
Well,
well.
you
I
heard
mean,
what Putin just told Germany and all the European countries
got
today.
to got to pay. You got to pay in rubles, right?
You got to
For
pay
the
in rubles, and you have to open a
with
Russian bank
a
account.
bank account. Yeah,
And you
and we're
know
not a
what?
charitable institution, right?
You know what?
Forget. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's their war. It's nothing to do with us. We should stay out of it. It's it's not our business. But you know what? I mean, for one, he's running a horrible war. And Russia was supposed to be this great military might, and they're getting punked horribly. Like they're looking really foolish. And
Yeah.
Europe's in a bind. Germany's in a bind. 50% of their energy comes from Russia. Lights out like that.
Yeah, I think they got to hold. I think they got to hold the line. I think they got to hold the line because this it's going to go from bad to worse. I think. I mean, I'm not sure if we should be talking politics here, but I mean the fact that he's had free sway to go into Georgia and I and multiple other places, Crimea, whatever. There's nothing or nobody that tells him no. And this is all in it's all in Putin's head. And if he has the opinion that he's going to, the big concern in my mind is Putin and Xi in the beginning of February before in Beijing before the
Right.
Olympics coming out and basically saying that they 100% support each other and they both want post World War II borders. Which mean, I mean, what does that mean? That he's gonna go and take Poland? He's gonna go and take the Baltics? Take Hungary? I mean, what does that mean? And if they keep going, I think the key thing is to keep that we don't see this turning into a conflict, a direct conflict between NATO and Russia. And if they can keep him busy in Ukraine and lose credibility in Ukraine
Well, you know what
and
country makes up a huge part of NATO?
I'm listening.
Us. So it's funny when they say NATO has aircraft
Sorry, I
carriers.
didn't mean. I was
They
thinking
go,
Turkey. Yes.
they go, oh, NATO has a bunch of aircraft carriers off the coast. No, those are U.S. aircraft carriers with
Yeah.
NATO flag.
And of course, the one French aircraft carrier. Don't forget about that.
But the French one will be in the back. It won't even see service. You know what's funny in
It's
the
going to
U.S.
do the cooking. It's going to be doing the cooking in the back.
I am French. I make the crepes.
Yeah, in the back. In the back.
You know what's funny in the United States? Growing up, the French were always. I don't even know why, but everyone just makes fun of the French, just because. I don't even know. I don't know, but that's like that old gun
French,
joke.
Michael, because they French. Come on.
Right. So if you want a really good World War II rifle, get a French one. It's never been fired, only dropped once. Have you heard that before?
I mean, and this is actual genuine laughter. That was actually funny. And I don't usually think you're a funny guy. That was funny.
That's an old classic. Old classic. If you want a good French rifle.
It's sad that I've never heard that one before. Yeah.
Too many choices. They won't go into Poland. That'll start World War III. You know what? I don't think he cares. I don't think when you're. I mean, for one, he doesn't have a way out right now. He has no back door. He's stuck. He's stuck. Yeah. He's a tyrant.
He's put himself in a corner based on bad information. I mean, it's I don't know. To me, it's the Ukrainians want freedom, and he wants to enslave 42, 43 million people. And to me, it's about freedom, and I have the deepest respect for what the Ukrainians are trying to do.
The Ukrainian people are great. That government was corrupt to the core for years, and everyone's acting like that president is like the godsend. No, he was corrupt as heck. If you go back, like New York Times, the Post, CNN had articles on him. The most corrupt president ever was this whatever guy, Zelensky or whatever in Ukraine. He's holding his ground now, but I mean, it's just for me. I think we should just stay out of it as much as we can. You know, we banned the import of their oil, but oil is only a few countries banned Russian imports. A lot of other countries are buying up their oil now at an inflated price. So us banning his oil raised the petrodollar. So now he's making more money selling to other countries, which is
I'm hearing they're not doing so good with that. They've got some serious logistics problems getting those goods to market. No, I heard.
Oh yeah.
One historical, just talking about Putin. There was, I quoted this one history from one history lecture I was watching on YouTube, and the expression is, you can only push history so far before it starts pulling you.
Right.
And I had that image of Putin. He's playing with history, and at some point he's no longer in control of where it's going. Who would have guessed that the Europeans would have reacted as they did, which is like massive unity across the board. And basically came together and said, "No, we're not accepting this."
It's bananas.
It's out of it. Yeah,
right here. Barry in the chat said Russia just drafted 150,000 more conscripts today.
And you see what's happening with those conscripts on the battlefield, right? I mean, they can't tie their shoelaces, scared as hell, and it's this is horrible to watch this.
Yeah. Oh, it sucks. And how poorly they're trained is just blowing me away. I mean, they were in Afghanistan for a long time. Some of
Yeah.
those guys should have some kind of combat experience, but if you watch them, they have a tank in single file just going down the street without any kind of infantry support, and they're just getting massacred. It's like that's
What it
day
is
one.
what it is they've taken you know, look, we know Putin is as corrupt as can be. The entire country is a kleptocracy. It's based on theft. The government is a mafia organization over there. Uh, they've taken the money that was supposed to go into training and equipment and new tires for their vehicles and gasoline for their tanks, and they all sell it, right? They ran out of gas because they're selling the gas. They ran out of food because they got 6-year-old meals. Somebody took the money for new meals and didn't buy any, new meals.
Yeah.
The whole system is corrupt from top to bottom, and we're seeing it.
Well, I hope the best for the Ukraine people, but now that we talked about that out loud, this video is absolutely demonetized from YouTube. There's no chance this is going to get the green light.
I'm happy to help.
Hey, real quick, so 7.62, in your opinion, we should just buy enough to get comfortable? Because I'm thinking that's 10,000 rounds.
I think the chances are we're going to see higher prices, and the reason we're talking about it is because of Russia. If we're talking about 9mm, that's a different story. But when you're talking about 39, the chances are you're going to see something happen there, and it could seriously jump. It could seriously jump.
Okay, so
So
9mm and 45, you think is pretty safe?
I think the whole market's going to go up. We also see a lot of 9mm coming in from 9mm coming in from Russia as well. There's a lot, but it's not as vulnerable as 39. It just isn't.
Yeah. All right, but all right. So the 300 blackout will be live in 2 weeks. That's exciting news because I want to buy a 300 blackout rifle, but I don't want to pay $2 to shoot it. That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but as we get further and further away from February or March of 2020, it's going to get easier and easier on that. It's just a matter of time. The manufacturers are attracted to it because it's selling for such high numbers. So the more manufacturers that go in that direction, the faster the prices are going to come down.
I've been shooting so much 22 lately. I shoot a lot of 22.
Like yeah, go ahead. I'm with you.
So when I go to the range now, it's like I shoot, I do my review, and then I bring my son and we take out the 22s and shoot that for an hour. And it's fantastic. I can shoot a 22 for 2 hours and spend $12, $15 on ammo, or I can shoot a 9mm and go through $250. It's so much more fun.
I'm going to claim ignorance because 22s. I mean, I know we got 22. That it's not something I watch because it just we facilitate the sale of it. It's not our product. How are the prices on 22 doing? Where did they go and where are they now?
22 a couple years ago was the cheapest. I mean, you could buy those CCI Spear 100-round boxes for around $3.99. I was buying a bunch of those. I have a bunch of those. The big 800-round Federal box. That's how I met my good friend Mike in the chat, Mr. Ledez. I bought 2 from him, and I think I paid $40 for 800 rounds, $45. So that's not bad, and it's bulk. It goes bang every time, and I'm probably sitting on 15,000 rounds of 22.
And COVID, where did those prices go?
Those prices skyrocket. So now that same block
20 cents, yeah.
So that same 100 rounds is like $12 now. 10.99,
so
$12. Yeah.
Okay.
Still way too much for 22.
Yeah.
But heck, I've seen those blue 800 round Federal boxes. I've seen those go for $100 a box.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't make sense. It should not be $100. It's a 22 for God's sake.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone, Go out, buy as much 7.6239 as you can. Let's buy it.
I never said that. I never said.
There's going to be a rush in the market. We need to beat it.
I
My
never said that either.
subscribers. No, but if you do like a coupon code or something, I'll post it. So everyone, please
Okay.
look out for a coupon code from 2A Warehouse, and let's buy them out. Let's make them broke. Let's take every bit of ammo out of that warehouse. Which, you invited me down, and I got to see how you guys cleaned the brass and separated it, and then that 9mm, those 9mm machines, as they're putting the they're
Powder.
spacing it.
Yeah.
It goes around, and it's like hypnotic to see
Yeah.
it. It's so crazy how fast you can make a bullet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
And
it.
and you're talking about. I mean, and that our equipment is fast, but not as fast as some of the other equipment out there. I mean, and you're talking to people that have 10, 20, 30, 30, 30 machines just punching that stuff out, and it just keeps the consumers keep buying it. I mean, there's huge demand for product in the United States for ammunition. And just there's so many shooters.
Everybody says, just stop buying it and then the price will come down. And that's great because one person will stop buying it, but you got 10 other people that'll keep buying it. So no one's, I mean, we're not all going to have a kumbaya 2A moment and say, everyone stop buying and stop buying. It'll
Right.
never happen. There's always going to be someone buying.
Yeah, if the American, I think if the American consumers stop buying, I mean, obviously, demand and supply, prices would then fall. Prices would then fall. Imported goods wouldn't come in any longer, which doesn't sound bad. But then, with the cost of the commodities in order to make the product today, then the product stops getting produced, and then the prices start climbing up. There's a lot of factors. I mean, certainly the demand is a significant factor in everything.
Jay Myers in the chat says he was at Walmart and there was 400 rounds of 22 for $22. That's not bad. That's not bad. Probably not the best. It's probably not the best 22. 22, if you buy the bulk, some of that bulk stuff is so dirty. If you shoot it, your hands are almost black. It's so dirty. I hate shooting that stuff. I shoot it if I have to, but I try not to. Let's see. Imagine reloading 22. The world is upside down. That would be just bananas. All right. Well, man, I don't want to take up all of your night. The chat really appreciate you coming on. I greatly appreciate you coming on. You've always been a good friend of the channel, and I greatly appreciate everything you've done. Coming out to our next meet is going to be in June, end of June. So definitely got to come out for that one. It's going to be the end of June at the Renaissance Shooting Club, same space. And real quick, I want to announce my 15,000 subscribers sweepstakes. So I'm going to hit 15,000 subscribers probably in like another week or two. And I'm going to put everybody's name. I'm going to do an official announcement. Everyone's name's going to go into a box. And whoever wins, if they're local, they'll just come shoot with me. If they're not local in the continental United States, I'm going to fly you out. Come shoot with me all day and then fly you back home because I can't hang out with you more than 2 days. No, I'm kidding. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a if it's local, great. This bit me in the ass last time. So I did this 10,000 subscriber giveaway, Brian, and I'm like, hey, whoever wins, I'm going to deliver you a crate of ammo, all kinds of calibers. And it was like around $300 in ammo. And this was the height of the crisis. And so Brett J, who's in the chat, actually, he won. He's in Tennessee. So I told my wife, I'm like, shit, I guess we're driving to Tennessee. So we took the family on a family trip, quote unquote family trip. But it was really for me to do my YouTube. I hope she doesn't watch this. She's going to kill me. So I incorporated the family trip into delivering, and I made a whole video on it. But yeah, so that's going to be the 15K. I'm going to fly you out. If it's too late, I'll put you up in a hotel. You can't come to my house. And we'll go shoot all next day, and I'm going to drop you off at the airport covered in gunpowder. So have fun going through security. It's going to be a good time.
I just one thing I want to say is just when you're talking about early on, you're talking about when I first came across your channel and watching you out there in the mornings, like hunting ammo at the different academies, and then I saw you at night, sitting by the fireplace, just doing your fireside chat. And I'm thinking, that's a guy I could hang out with. And I just want to say, I was like, really, yeah, this is really something. I could hang out with you remotely while you're hanging out alone at a fireplace. That was just very. I thought that. I just want to say that I really appreciate what you do. The way
Thank
you've
you.
like I mean, you've created a fantastic community. I mean, out of essentially out of thin air. And Michael, it's you. I mean, you've created something in this channel, and I just want to say from one of your consumers, I appreciate it,
Thank
and I
you.
enjoy, and I've always enjoyed the videos and always enjoyed having the time, hanging out with you. It's always
Yeah,
fun.
because I thought too, it's like, heck, I don't have anything to do some of those nights. I mean, sometimes I just want to come home after work and start a fire and just chit chat with gun people. And I don't have any gun friends local to me. So I'm like, let's just do it outside.
Yeah,
And I just
yeah,
bought a whole bunch of wood today. So that fireside is coming back probably next week because we only got a few more nights. And then
yeah.
it's going to
A
get
few
too
more.
freaking hot. Then it's going to be too hot. Then it's going to be sweatshop nights. It's going to be horrible. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Brian, thank you so much. Everyone go out and buy all the 7.6T you can. You heard it here first. There's going to be a run. Everybody panic. Panic buy. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Till next time.